The frozen moon circled its giant planet like a silent guardian. Its surface stretched white and endless, cracked with deep canyons of blue ice. Few had ever set foot there, and fewer still had dared to stay. But humans were explorers, and when the promise of minerals called, they came with drills, machines, and stubborn hope. The outpost sat on a plateau, its metal walls glowing faintly against the cold. Inside, the crew lived and worked, dreaming of what their discoveries might mean for the colonies scattered across the stars. For weeks, they drilled into the ice, searching for valuable resources hidden far below. Progress was slow, the ice thicker than expected, but the humans pressed on. One day, their scanners detected something unusual. Deep beneath the surface, far below the layers of frozen stone, was a signal steady, sharp, and unnatural. It was no mineral, no natural formation. Something was there, buried in the ancient ice. Commander Hale, a man of calm authority, gathered the crew in the control room. "Our scanners have picked up a structure," he announced. "It lies almost 3 kilometers below. We don't know what it is, but we are going to find out." Excitement spread through the outpost. Dr. Elena Ruiz, the lead scientist, could hardly hide her smile. This could be evidence of life. A civilization lost to time. "Do you realize what this means? We may not be alone." Captain Ward, head of security, frowned. "Or it could be dangerous. A trap. We don't know who or what built it." Still, curiosity outweighed fear. The drilling machines roared to life once more, cutting deeper than ever before. Hours turned to days, and finally, the drills broke into a hollow space. A team prepared to descend. They wore heavy suits, their lamps cutting through the darkness as they lowered themselves into the cavern. The air was heavy with silence, broken only by the echo of their boots against ice. Then, their lamps revealed it a massive chamber glittering with frozen crystals. At the very center stood a figure encased in clear ice, tall and striking, its form both human and not. Lieutenant Marlowe's voice cracked with awe. It's a person. Or something like one." The figure had long limbs, sharp features, and eyes that glowed faintly even through the ice. Its body was sealed perfectly, as though preserved by design, not by accident. Around it, strange markings were etched into the ice, symbols that none of the crew could read. Dr. Ruiz pressed her gloved hand against the frozen surface. "This is no accident. This is a chamber. A prison, or a sanctuary." Captain Ward pulled her back. "Stay away. We don't know what it is." But before anyone could move, a sound filled the chamber. It was faint at first, like the crack of shifting ice, but then clearer whispers, soft and haunting. The crew froze, each one feeling the sound not only in their ears but in their minds. The voice was broken, fragile, yet clear enough to understand. "Help me." Marlowe stepped back in shock. "Did you hear that?" It spoke. "No," whispered Dr. Ruiz, her eyes wide. "It didn't speak with its mouth. It spoke inside us." The cavern grew colder, the air sharp as knives. The whispers returned, stronger this time, pressing against their thoughts. "Help me." Fear and wonder mixed in every heart. Some wanted to run, others wanted to free the figure. Commander Hale raised his voice, steadying them. "We found something beyond our understanding. This is not the time for panic. Record everything. No one touches the ice until we know more." Still, even as they climbed back toward the surface, none could shake the sound from their minds. The frozen stranger was alive, in some way, reaching across centuries with a single plea. Back at the outpost, the debate began. Some called it a miracle, others a threat. But all agreed on one thing: the ice had hidden more than secrets of the planet. It had hidden a mystery that could change humanity forever. And somewhere deep inside the cavern, beneath the unbroken ice, the stranger's glowing eyes flickered faintly, as if aware that at last, someone had come. The discovery of the frozen stranger spread across the outpost like fire. Every corner of the small human settlement buzzed with questions. Who was the figure in the ice? Was it a traveler from another world, or something far more dangerous? The whispers had unsettled many, but they also sparked wonder. In the main hall, the crew gathered for a meeting. Long tables were pushed together, screens glowing with images of the frozen cavern. The stranger's silhouette stood out on the display, tall and sharp, eyes faintly glowing even through layers of ice. Commander Hale sat at the head of the table, his expression serious. Dr. Elena Ruiz, the lead scientist, spoke first. This is not just an artifact. This is life. It is unlike anything we have ever seen, and yet, look closely. The structure of the body, the hands, the eyes. It is close to us, close to human. We cannot ignore this. We must study, we must learn, we must awaken it. Captain Ward, head of security, shook his head. And risk the safety of everyone here? No. You all heard the whispers. That thing called for help without moving its lips. That is not natural. If we open the ice, we could be unleashing something we cannot control. The room grew tense. Some nodded at Dr. Ruiz's words, others at Ward's warning. Lieutenant Marlowe, younger than most, leaned forward. But what if it needs us? If it has been trapped for centuries, it must have a reason. Imagine if humanity had been frozen like that and another species found us. Would we not want to be freed? A murmur moved through the hall. The question hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Engineer Patel, who always valued logic, raised his voice. We must also consider the technology around the figure. The ice chamber was not natural. It looked designed. Perhaps it is a prison, not a stasis field. If that is true, opening it could bring disaster. Dr. Ruiz did not back down. Or perhaps it is both prison and protection. Do you not see? This being could hold knowledge we have never dreamed of. The structure itself may contain answers about energy, medicine, or even faster travel. Humanity has always advanced by taking risks. Without courage, we would never have left Earth. Commander Hale listened in silence, his hands clasped together. He had seen the fear in the eyes of his crew when the whispers filled the cavern, but he had also seen the light of curiosity that made humanity different from so many species they had studied. Finally, he spoke. We stand on the edge of something great, or something terrible. Fear tells us to stay back. Hope tells us to step forward. But we must decide together. This is not the choice of one person. The room fell quiet again. From the back, Dr. Yi, a biologist, added softly, the whispers were not violent. They asked for help. That is a universal call. We cannot pretend we did not hear it. Captain Ward clenched his jaw. And if it is a trap? If that thing lures us closer just to destroy us? Then we will have no one to blame but ourselves. The debate stretched for hours. Some argued with passion, others with caution. Humanity's best and worst qualities were revealed in that single hall: compassion, fear, curiosity, suspicion. When the meeting ended, No final decision was made. But something had changed. The crew no longer saw the stranger as only a frozen figure. It was now a question, a mystery that demanded an answer. That night, many could not sleep. Some dreamed of the stranger opening its eyes and thanking them. Others dreamed of it rising in anger. Yet in both dreams, one thing was the same: the ice was cracking, and the moment of choice was drawing near. The cavern was colder than before, and the sound of distant groaning echoed through the tunnels of ice. The drilling had disturbed the frozen layers, and now every step the crew took made the ground shiver slightly. The stranger inside the block of ice looked unchanged, yet something felt different. The glow in its eyes seemed brighter, and the faint whispers were no longer rare. They came often now, soft but clear, as if the being was slowly waking. A small group of humans stood near the frozen figure. Lieutenant Marlowe was among them, unable to look away. His breath clouded in the air as he whispered to Dr. Ruiz, "Do you hear it again?" Dr. Ruiz nodded. "Yes. The voice is clearer than yesterday. It is calling, almost pleading." She placed a gloved hand on the ice, studying the cracks that had begun to spread across its surface. "The chamber is weakening." Captain Ward kept his distance, standing with his arms crossed. "This is exactly what I warned about. The ice is failing. Whatever is inside will not remain sealed much longer. We should leave the cavern and prepare containment." But Marlowe shook his head. "If the ice breaks, and the being is alive, we cannot just run away. We must be here. We must be ready." The group grew quiet as a deep rumble filled the cavern. A thin crack slid across the ice, splitting it like glass. The sound was sharp, echoing far into the tunnels. The stranger's glowing eyes flickered, and for the first time, the crew saw its fingers twitch inside the frozen block. Dr. Ruiz's heart pounded. "It is alive. Truly alive." The crew moved back, unsure if they should stay or flee. Some carried scanners, and the readings showed rising energy from within the ice. The whispers became a chorus now, soft but pressing, words forming in the minds of each human. "Help me. Please." Commander Hale, who had just entered the cavern, raised his voice. "Stay calm. Do not panic. Record everything. If this being is waking, we must witness it." Another loud crack rang out, and shards of ice began to fall away. The stranger's chest rose faintly, as though it was breathing for the first time in centuries. The cavern air grew warmer, as if energy radiated from the figure itself. The crew stared, frozen in place by awe. For years, they had traveled to the stars searching for life, and now it was before them, emerging from its prison. Suddenly, the cavern shook with a violent tremor. A massive block of ice broke free from the ceiling and crashed to the ground, sending a wave of frost across the floor. The crew stumbled, but their eyes never left the figure. The frozen stranger's arm lifted slightly, pressing against the weakening barrier. The ice shattered around the hand, shards flying outward like crystal knives. Marlowe took a step closer, unable to resist. His voice trembled, but it carried hope. "It is reaching out. It wants freedom." Captain Ward pulled him back. "Stay away. You don't know what it wants." But it was too late. The final crack tore across the entire block, splitting it down the center. The sound was like thunder trapped underground. Then, in one final moment, the ice gave way. Shards fell to the floor, and the figure collapsed forward into the arms of gravity. The stranger lay on the ground, still as stone, its skin pale but glowing faintly with light beneath the surface. The crew stepped back, unsure whether to help or retreat. Silence filled the cavern, broken only by the faint hum that now seemed to rise from the figure itself. Dr. Ruiz crouched beside it, scanning quickly. It is alive. Very weak, but alive. Its body temperature is rising. It may awaken fully. The crew looked at Commander Hale, waiting for orders. His face was pale, but his voice was steady. We came searching for knowledge, and we have found it. We cannot turn away now. Prepare to move it to the outpost. As they lifted the stranger carefully onto a transport stretcher, the whispers returned, louder than ever, filling each human mind. Thank you. Some felt comfort at the words. Others felt dread. For though the ice had broken and the being was free, no one knew what awaited them once it truly opened its eyes. The journey back to the outpost was silent. The crew carried the stranger carefully on the stretcher, while the faint glow beneath its skin pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Snow crunched under their boots, and the night sky above the frozen moon stretched endless and cold. Everyone felt the weight of what they carried, not only a body but a mystery that could change everything. Inside the medical bay, bright lights washed over the pale figure. Dr. Ruiz worked quickly, attaching scanners and monitors, while Dr. Yi prepared nutrient fluids. The readings were unlike anything they had seen before. The stranger's organs resembled those of a human, yet its cells carried unusual energy patterns, glowing softly with each pulse. Lieutenant Marlowe leaned close, whispering, "It looks almost human. Like someone from Earth, but different. Taller, sharper features, but still familiar." Captain Ward frowned, standing with arms folded. "Do not forget what we saw. It spoke inside our minds without moving its lips. That is not something we understand. We must be cautious." The stranger's chest rose and fell, slow at first, then steadier. Its hands twitched as if testing freedom after long stillness. The glow in its eyes flickered beneath closed lids. The entire crew gathered around, holding their breath. Suddenly, the stranger's eyes opened. A faint light shone from within them, not blinding but steady, like the glow of stars seen from far away. The crew froze, unsure whether to step back or forward. Dr. Ruiz spoke gently, her voice calm. "You are safe. We found you in the ice. You are not alone anymore." The stranger's lips moved this time, though the voice was still strange and uneven, as if unused for centuries. "Safe, humans." The single word filled the room with silence. Everyone exchanged glances. It knew them. It recognized them. Commander Hale stepped forward, his voice firm but steady. "Yes. We are humans. We live beyond this world. Who are you?" The stranger closed its eyes for a moment, then opened them again, struggling with words. "Long, trapped. Enemies, sealed me here. I waited. I called." Marlowe's heart raced. "It was you," the whispers. "We heard them in our minds." The stranger nodded weakly. "Mind to mind. Only way. So long, waiting for someone who could hear." Dr. Yi adjusted the scanners and whispered to Ruiz, "Brain activity is strong. Its neural patterns are far beyond ours, yet familiar. It is like looking at a mirror that shows the future." The stranger tried to sit up, but weakness forced it back onto the bed. Its voice grew a little clearer. "I am, last of my kind. A war ended us. Machines that feared life, that feared change. They hunted us. They sealed me in this place, to erase memory. But I lived. Because I hoped another would come. The words struck the crew like a storm. Machines that feared life? A war older than human history? Questions filled their minds, but none dared to speak all at once. Finally, Commander Hale asked, "Why us? Why humans? Why call to us?" The stranger's eyes focused on him, glowing faintly brighter. "Because you are like us once were. I felt it in your thoughts. You are strong, but not by power. You adapt. You endure. The machines cannot understand you. That is why you must be ready. They will come again." Captain Ward stiffened, his suspicion deepening. "And what if you bring them here? What if freeing you has doomed us all?" The stranger did not answer at once. Its gaze dropped, almost in sorrow. Then it whispered, "Danger was always near. I only give warning. Now you must choose your path." The room fell into uneasy silence. Some of the crew felt pity, others felt fear. The being looked fragile on the bed, but its words carried the weight of ages. Dr. Ruiz placed a hand gently on the stranger's arm. "You are not alone now. If you are last of your kind, then we will listen. We will learn. Humanity has always faced the unknown, and we will face this too." The stranger looked at her, and for the first time, a faint smile appeared. Its voice softened. "Then there is hope." The monitors continued to hum softly, showing rising strength in the stranger's body. Yet even as relief settled over some of the crew, others could not shake the unease. For if the ice had hidden one truth, what else waited in the dark beyond the stars? The outpost had grown restless since the awakening of the stranger. Whispers of fear spread through the narrow halls, mixing with quiet sparks of curiosity. Some crew members wanted to trust the being, while others wished it had remained frozen forever. Commander Hale tried to keep order, but even he could feel the weight of uncertainty pressing on the colony. The stranger, still weak, spent most of the time in the medical bay. Its glow had faded to a gentle shimmer, yet its eyes still carried the light of another age. When it spoke, the crew listened, torn between wonder and caution. One night, as frost gathered thick on the windows, a faint alarm echoed across the outpost. The communication team had detected something unusual. Strange signals moved at the edge of the moon's orbit, patterns of sound and code that did not match any known ship or beacon. The signals pulsed like a heartbeat, steady and unnatural. Lieutenant Marlowe hurried into the control room, his voice tight. "Are they human?" The operator shook his head. "No. These are not our signals. The language is structured, but not organic. More like code. Repeating patterns." Captain Ward entered behind them, his eyes sharp. "Show me the source." The screen lit with faint shapes approaching slowly through the dark void. Small, cold signatures machines. The stranger was brought to the control room when the news spread. It studied the signals, its expression grim. "They are here. Not all, but scouts. The machines always search first. They measure. They prepare." The crew felt a chill deeper than the frozen air outside. The stranger's warning was no longer a story, it was real. Dr. Ruiz spoke softly, "Can they see us? Do they know we are here?" The stranger nodded. "They will know soon. They search for movement, for life. They fear what grows outside their design." Commander Hale kept his voice steady though his heart raced. "How much time do we have before they reach this moon?" The stranger closed its eyes, listening as though it could sense more than the machines revealed. "Days, perhaps less. But once they confirm, more will come. That is their way. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. The outpost was small, built for research and drilling, not for defense. Their ships were few, their weapons limited. Against machines from a forgotten war, they seemed fragile. Captain Ward broke the silence. We should leave. Evacuate the outpost before it is too late. If they are truly as powerful as you say, we stand no chance here. Dr. Ruiz shook her head. And leave this knowledge behind? Leave the one who warned us? No. Humanity has never run from the unknown. If we do not face them now, they will only follow us later. The debate that had started in the hall days before now returned with sharper edges. Some argued for retreat, others for preparation. The stranger watched them with quiet eyes. This is the choice I feared. Many before you faced the same and fell. But you are different. You can change. Machines cannot adapt like you. That is your strength. The words carried weight, but fear was still heavy in the room. That night, while the crew argued, the signals grew clearer. The machines were closer now, sending out probes like silent hunters. One probe drifted near the moon's icy rings, flashing beams of light as if searching. Marlowe stared at the monitor. They are looking for us already. The stranger placed a hand on the screen, as though feeling the presence of its old enemy. Its voice was low. Once, my people tried to fight them with power alone. But power was not enough. They could not think as you think, could not twist and change as you do. That is why I believe in you. Commander Hale called the crew together once more. His face was lined with tension, but his voice held firm. We cannot hide forever. If these machines are coming, then humanity must decide whether to meet them with fear or with courage. This frozen moon may be only the beginning, but perhaps it is where our story turns. The room grew silent. Outside, the stars burned cold, and the faint glow of the probes drifted closer like watchful eyes. The first signs of the threat had arrived, and the crew knew the days of quiet study were over. From the medical bay window, the stranger looked out at the night sky. For centuries, it had waited in silence. Now, with humans beside it, the silence was breaking. The outpost no longer felt like a research station. It had become a place of waiting, every corridor filled with tension. The machines were drawing closer with each passing hour. Their probes circled the frozen moon, measuring, scanning, hunting. The humans inside knew it was only a matter of time before the real threat arrived. Commander Hale stood in the central hall, studying a map of the system displayed on the screen. Small red marks showed the machine's positions, multiplying day by day. He rubbed his forehead, feeling the weight of history pressing down. Humanity had faced many dangers before: storms, wars, and the unknown of space, but this felt different. This was not only survival. This was the beginning of something larger. The stranger entered quietly, still weak but stronger than before. Its glowing eyes studied the map, and a shadow crossed its face. They are testing the ground, as they always do. Soon they will strike. If you wait, they will overwhelm you. If you act, you may have a chance. Captain Ward stepped forward. Act? With what? We have mining tools, a few patrol ships, and a handful of weapons. We are not a fleet. We are not soldiers. The stranger placed a hand on the table, its voice steady. Your weakness is your strength. Machines expect order, predictability, strength in numbers. They do not understand change, they do not understand surprise. You can turn what you have into something greater. But you must work together. Dr. Ruiz leaned closer to the map. The structure beneath the ice, the chamber where we found you. It was not only a prison, was it? The stranger nodded slowly. It was also a vault. My people hid knowledge there before the end. Not everything survived, but enough. If you combine your machines with what remains, you may stand. For the first time since the signals began, hope flickered in the crew. Engineers and scientists rushed to scan the cavern once more. Beneath the broken chamber, they discovered ancient circuits, half-buried machines, and strange crystals glowing faintly. Engineer Patel stared in awe. This is energy beyond anything we know. If we connect it with our reactors, it could power the defense grid 10 times over. The crew worked without rest. Humans had always been builders, problem solvers, dreamers. Now, faced with a threat from the past, they did what they did best: they adapted. Mining lasers became weapons. Cargo drones became fast scouts. Weak shields were reinforced with strange energy pulled from the crystals. Piece by piece, the outpost changed from a research station into something new, a fortress of survival. Yet even as they worked, doubts remained. Some whispered that it was hopeless, that no matter what they built, the machines would crush them. Others whispered that this was humanity's moment, the test that would show whether they were ready to stand among the stars. Late one night, Lieutenant Marlowe found the stranger sitting alone, watching the stars through the window. "Do you believe we can win?" he asked softly. The stranger did not answer at once. Finally, it said, "Victory is not certain. My people had greater strength and still fell. But you are not them. You are young, unpredictable. The machines cannot understand why you risk everything for hope. That is why you may succeed where we failed." Marlowe sat beside it, his voice firm despite his fear. "Then we will fight. Not only for ourselves, but for the future." As the final hours passed, the outpost came alive with activity. Ships were armed, defenses powered, and the ancient vault beneath the ice hummed with strange light. Every human knew what was coming, yet none stepped back. Commander Hale stood before his crew, his voice carrying across the hall. "We did not come here to fight. We came here to learn. But sometimes learning means standing against the darkness. If the machines come for us, then we will show them who we are. We are humanity, and we do not bow." The crew raised their voices, not with fear, but with determination. For the first time, the frozen moon echoed not with silence, but with human resolve. Above them, the first wave of machines moved closer, their cold lights cutting across the stars. The battle had not yet begun, but already humanity had crossed a line. They were no longer explorers hiding in the shadows. They were defenders standing between eras, the past that had fallen, and the future yet to rise. The sky above the frozen moon glowed with strange lights. Distant stars flickered as shadows moved across them, shapes of machines drifting closer, silent and cold. The outpost below stood ready, transformed from a research station into a fortress. Humans lined the halls, ships waited on the landing pads, and the ancient vault beneath the ice hummed with power once lost to time. Commander Hale stood on the command deck, his eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. "They are here," he said quietly. His voice carried across the room, and every ear turned to him. "Remember what we stand for. Not only our lives, but the future of all who may follow us. We cannot fail." The stranger stood beside him, taller now, strength returned. Its eyes glowed with a steady light, not of fear but of resolve. "They do not expect you to resist. That is your greatest weapon. Use it well. The first wave of machines descended. Sleek and silver, they cut through the thin clouds like blades. They fired beams of light toward the surface, striking shields that flared with new energy drawn from the vault. The ground shook, but the defenses held. For the first time in ages, the machines met resistance they had not calculated. Lieutenant Marlowe shouted from his station, "Shields at 80%. They're stronger than we thought." "Return fire," Commander Hale ordered. Mining lasers, once used to cut stone, now roared upward. Cargo drones darted through the sky, carrying explosives and scattering them across the enemy lines. The battle had begun, not in silence, but with the defiant noise of humanity refusing to bow. The machines adapted quickly, shifting their formations and pressing harder. Yet the humans adapted faster. They rerouted power, changed tactics, and used the very chaos the machines despised. Every time the machines tried to predict their moves, the crew acted in ways no program could fully grasp. Dr. Ruiz worked in the vault below, guiding energy from the ancient crystals into the reactors. Sweat covered her brow as the systems pulsed dangerously, but she pushed them to the limit. "Hold steady," she whispered to herself. "We are stronger than they think." Above, Captain Ward led a squadron of small ships into the void. His voice filled the comms. "Stay close, strike fast. Make them chase you, not corner you." His squadron darted like sparks, weaving through enemy fire, striking weak points, and vanishing before the machines could trap them. The stranger raised its hands, connecting with the ancient structure through thought alone. The walls of the outpost vibrated, and the shields glowed brighter. It was as if the vault had been waiting for this moment, waiting for humanity to arrive and awaken it fully. The machines, once confident, now hesitated. Their lines broke, their patterns wavered. For the first time in countless cycles, they faced something they had not prepared for: life that refused to follow rules. But the battle was not easy. Explosions lit the sky, ships fell burning into the ice, and the ground shook with each strike. Humanity bent, but it did not break. Every loss was met with new resolve. Every strike pushed them closer to victory. At the height of the fight, the stranger's voice echoed in the minds of all humans present. "Now, unite the old with the new. Strike together." Commander Hale gave the final order. Power surged from the vault into the ships and weapons above. The mining lasers burned brighter than suns, the shields flared with impossible strength, and the drones became streaks of fire in the sky. In one coordinated wave, humanity struck with everything it had. The machines reeled, their scouts shattered, their formation broken. They did not fall completely, but they pulled back, retreating into the darkness of space. For the first time in ages, the hunters had been forced to flee. Silence returned to the frozen moon. The crew stared at the sky, breathing hard, hearts pounding. They had survived. Commander Hale looked at his people, his voice strong. "Today, we stood not as explorers, not as miners, not as dreamers, but as guardians. The machines know us now. They will return. But when they do, they will find not fear, but humanity waiting." The stranger stepped forward, its glowing eyes reflecting the stars. "When the ice cracked, it did not only free me. It freed you. You are no longer hidden in the shadow of history. You are the beginning of a new era." The crew stood in silence, feeling the weight of the words. They had faced what no one was ready for, and yet they had endured. On that frozen moon, beneath the endless sky, humanity had taken its first true step into the great story of the stars. And nothing machine or shadow would ever see them as weak again.